Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And now that the Overlord collab is essentially over, we've got 3 more days until the start of the next meta. I figured now would be a good time to kind of review everything that came with the Overlord collab and give it a mostly objective ranking. So, yes, we got to talk about the characters. But yes, we also got to talk about everything else that the game gave us apart from said characters. And then we have to weigh, the good and the bad and the really ugly. So I've come up with a list of a few things to talk about. This video may be long because I've got quite a bit to talk about, and we also have to go over, the elephant in the room, which are the units. But first off, I did a very, very brief and rough count of all of the free tickets that they gave us during this month alone. And if you look at it, it's actually pretty good, considering it's just February. It's not like a half anniversary or a full anniversary, it's just February. That happens to be a collab. But we got 2 free multis on the Eins and Rimuru banner that came from the event shop, the Part 1 event shop, right here. So where you got the scrolls from doing the 20 parallel process thing. That's typical. That's pretty normal. They also have the protector ticket in here. Also normal now. And then we got the free multi for Albedo and Shizu that came from the Part 2 banner where we got the free crystal or the free gear for Shizu and then a battle ticket. So 10 here, 20 in the other shop, a 5-star ticket, a 5-star ticket, free gear, awesome. And then we got the free multi for Shalltear's banner, and that came from the joint battle, doing it 40 times. Now, unfortunately, it was broken for a while, and you couldn't parallel process it, so a lot of people went in and just did it manually 40 times, which, sure, whatever. But we did get a free multi out of it, and I know some people did pull Shalltear off of it. So that's good. If you can pull a really bad unit off of free stuff, then great. Then, the 5-star protector, the 5-star battle we talked about. Then we got the EX protector and the EX battle tickets, and those came from Jubilee Blitz rewards, the global co-op rewards, which took a long time to come out. I don't know why it took so long for those to come out. But we definitely did get them, and it is definitely another guaranteed 5-star ticket. And then we have this other 5-star ticket, which I believe was also from Jubilee Blitz Rewards. And then we've got the Valentine's Day tickets that we got. 1 from logging in, and then 4 from grinding the chocolate medals, and you could pick up these tickets right here. Now, it's 5 tickets, but they are multis for each ticket, and they are guaranteed 5 stars of every female character that's not an EX unit. So that's another at least guaranteed 5 stars. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tickets right there that are guaranteed 5 stars. So very, very good value. And these were essentially giveaways, right? Because a lot of them came from the event shop or global reward or like co-op rewards. And then this was a very easy stage you just do. So 9 new 5-star units, or 5 stars for new players, middle time players. Those could be really good pickups. You could pull the Masked Hero. You could pull the big 3. There are a number of good units that people should, would, and probably did pull off of these. And then we got at least 10 basic bingo tickets, at least, because I can't, unfortunately, go back and look at previous bingo boards, unfortunately. I don't know why they don't let us go back and look at it for, other things. There's 10 here. There was 10 for other event. There's, the corridor ones that we're getting here. So I don't really count corridor right now because it goes throughout the into the start of the next meta, but they're definitely here. We got these tickets, which I also didn't count. So that's at least another 2 guaranteed 5 stars again, plus some shards from more bingo. So we could just add them onto here, 1 and 1, so make it 2 and 2. And then another 10 tickets here, so 20 bingo tickets, if you want to do it like that. But I'm not counting it right now because it does peel over into like the 8th or something of next month. But those are the free tickets that I counted. There may be more that I missed, again, from the bingo boards or something else. But I think this is a good amount of free 5 stars that they gave and free multis. It's very rare that they give us free multis on every single banner nowadays, which is unfortunate, not great, but it is nice when they do happen. And definitely people did manage to pull the featured units off of these free tickets. Maybe not you, but somebody else did. And now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the new units. So much has been discussed already over them, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much because we know who is good and we know who is not good, and there's just nothing we can really do about that at this point. Shizu is a great, fantastic, all-purpose green unit, and she will have a lot of use moving forward. She's the green version of Blanc. She's actually probably a little bit better because Blanc's part of her buff is locked behind synergy, which not too many units give still. Shizu, ult resistance down and weakness strike, good for any nuker. Any team that has a nuker, it's going to work. Ainz is unfortunately a DPS unit, which means that he's going to fall off quick anyways. And his limitation on Despair and his limitation on his guaranteed crits for 2 teams really hurt him. Albedo, what hasn't been said about Albedo already? She's terrible. Her design is old and not very strong. Her Despair skill, like protection gauge on greens, is cool, but Despair as a whole for both her and Ainz and Shoutier is just a big fat L. And she is just a big fat L, unfortunately. Shoutier, I think, is actually worse than Albedo, because at least Albedo can stun. Even her stun strike is locked to 2 teams. Shoutier, her ult buff is locked to 2 teams. The same 2 teams, which are still not great teams. And then she gets the defense down, which is not useful at all. Like, I'm not winning a fight because of this 80% defense down. I'll win a fight because of that guaranteed stun that Albedo has. So, for all intents and purposes, I think that Shoutier is worse. Her Despair skill is an alt rush ability, which if you run Albedo, you're already getting a bunch of alt gauge on greens anyways, so this seems just highly unnecessary, especially in Jubilee right now. We're not sending multiple nukes of Shoutier, right? We're just consistently sending greens and greens and greens and greens and greens. At least the sweaty tryhards are, right? Because we're running Shizuka, and in order to get max buff, we need full hand of greens. So this 30% alt gauge is just stupid. The entire skill is stupid. At least Ainz and Albedo, they had a secondary buff that benefited the rest of the team. Shoutier is actually kind of garbage. So everything that bad about Albedo is actually worse about Shoutier, unfortunately. And her animations are not that great. Like, they're just not. They're super lazy. They didn't have her in battle mode. They didn't have the pipette lands. It's just like she calls some bats in and throws a purifying javelin, and then cool. There's not even like a big explosion. There's like a fades to white, and then animation over. It's whatever. Free to play Nabe, I mean, is really good on the Overlord team, and then she's not good anywhere else, which you could say the same thing about the free to play Diablo, is that if you take him off the New Year's team, he's actually garbage. So unfortunately, they are really, really, really limiting the free to play characters now to their specific teams, and that's not really a good thing, because what makes Isis and what makes Geld and Watarimaru so good, and Traya, is that they can be put on other teams as a dedicated orb changer, and they will work fine because they know their role, and none of them are locked to only changes certain orbs of something to this or something. It's just you orb change. Congrats, you're good. And that's Diablo only changes orbs that are New Year's Blessing, and Nabe only changes Stern of Spirit orbs, and Ranga only changes Wielder of Magic orbs. Like, I don't like this trend that they're going towards by super limiting the free-to-play units, because they're free. They should be used by everybody to make other teams better, and what you're doing is making them worse for other teams. So, not a good trend they're moving for. Protector Gabiru is actually not a bad unit by any means. They do lock his buff to Stern of Spirit or Tempest Elite, but he still is a green stacking protector at base value, which I haven't even leveled this up. Why don't we do that now? So that gives him some modicum of value for newer players, having access to at least some sort of green stacking protector, regardless of how underpowered he is, because he is a free-to-play unit. But he's definitely not a bad free-to-play protector. They've definitely at least been making strides in making these free-to-play protectors, better than what originally came out with like Soe and Chloe and Dino. Like, those were terrible protectors. They've definitely made strides here, but at the expense of the free-to-play battle units, in my opinion. But now, moving on, Rimuru is really good. We didn't talk about him, but I mean, he's really good. Shizu is good, and Ainz, Albedo, Shalltear, and Nabe are all severely limited, and that hurts them immensely. But some good things that came out of this is the character introduction quest. A free dupe for every battle character that we got that's summonable, plus the free dupe from Rimuru that we got from the bingo board. So this is the first time ever that they've given us a free dupe for all of the new summonable premium units. And that is great, because if you summon, that means you immediately have access to their traits. It means that you're less inclined to continue summoning because you already have a dupe. And especially with the release of EX characters, dupes are not that impactful for a free-to-play player. Like, it's great if you get a dupe. Like, if you do the first multi on tickets and you get a double of whoever, like, awesome, great. But it's not quite as limiting as before, where you're missing just a huge, gigantic chunk of stats. Because now, every EX character has access to all their EX board to start out with, or their normal ability board. Because it used to be this 5th board was locked behind dupes, and you could only get the final spot, and every time you got a dupe, you would get a little bit more out of this 5th slot. But now, since you're automatically level 100, you always have access to this. So the only thing that you're losing is raw stats, which does help, but is not truly important. And then that extra, like, 20% alt damage that you get from being 120, which, honestly, like, a lot of my nukers are not 120. A lot of my support units are, but I've made top 10 in Jubilee or top 15 just fine with level 100 EX characters. So you don't really need dupes of EX characters. It's not nearly as important as it was back in the day when you needed a level 100 Hinata to really, really make sure that you were doing, at least decent numbers. So that is a good thing. And then giving us dupes just makes them stronger. So I do like the fact that they gave us a dupe for everybody. That was very nice. The story event, splitting it into 2 parts, I like it and I don't like it at the same time. Because, one, it did bring some confusion to especially new players who are like, I need to farm up the scrolls, but I don't know where to farm up the scrolls, and whether that's because they're lazy and they're unknown because they're new, that you can click on this quest details tab and you can see that this mission gives scrolls, and if you go up, then you go into special effects, quest details, and this gives potions. Like, is that the fault of the devs? Is that the fault of the players? It could go either way. So there was some confusion, but it did split the event shop up into 2, which I think is actually better, because this is where they enabled us to get a free multi here, and then a free multi for the second banner here, using different currencies. And while the 20 parallel process is locked to this one, you had more stuff to get out of this shop than the other one. So I'm actually fine with them splitting it up for the future. If they continue to do it, then awesome, and if they don't, well, then oh well, we got a taste of it, cool. We got free gear for everybody, which is not new. Every single collab, they always give us free gear for all of those collab units, so that's standard across the board. If you have the gear but don't have the units, then the easy way to do it is just to delete it. Just disassemble the gear. Like this Shalltear gear, I'm probably gonna disassemble because I'm never gonna build it up because I have enough gear to gear her out anyway. She uses a dark claw and a dark jacket, so I'll probably keep it just for collection purposes, but if you don't need it, like if you don't have Albedo, you don't have Shoutier, and this gear is only good at full power on those characters, just disassemble it. Don't let it take up space unless you also want to collect. But free gear is definitely good for people that have access to the units because it means less resources needed to build new pieces of gear and awaken it and such things. Beatdown battle is essentially unchanged. I think they've actually been making beatdown battles a lot easier for newer players because they've gotten rid of a lot of that's Predator battle. They've gotten rid of a lot of the difficulties. So it used to be like normal, expert, master, and then EX 1, 2, and 3 or something like that, and then Inferno 1, 2, and 3, and now there's just extreme. And that's it. And that's the last place you get the Ainz gear. And it's lower than what it used to be as far as EP requirements. And then Inferno was always Inferno. They've changed the rewards for the first time clear away from Omni Accords, which are still really useless because a lot of the skill fusions are just meh. And they've given us moats, which are their own form of useless, but maybe less so than the Omni Accords for skill fusions. It's up to your determination how you want to see that. Joint battle was fine. If it wasn't bugged from the beginning, it would have been a little bit better, but it gave the same things regardless. It gave the free multi for Shoutier, and it gave co-op rewards, and it gave some free stuff that everyone got access to. So free stuff, always good. You can never complain about free stuff. Same with Jubilee Blitz. I'm a little bit burned out on Jubilee, honestly. Making 10 videos a month for Jubilee is not what I would consider fun, but we did it anyways, and we did get a very good amount of co-op rewards from that. So, again, free stuff is free stuff. Can we actually check that? That's Catalyst. No, okay. Don't worry about it then. So, yeah, free stuff. Catalyst is still going on right now. It's definitely geared towards the people who have the Overlord units, except the not Albedo, because she's useless in that. I think that's why JP took so long to get their scores up, because they were trying to use Albedo, and then they finally wised up and realized that she's ass, and they started using Shizuka. So I'm, rank 7 now, and I could not care less. Like, the amount of times I naturally pierced on my nukes in this boss battle is actually astounding, and pushed me away from trying to push higher. So this is the same score I've had since I recorded my Jubilee initial videos, right? That went up. I started those last Monday on the holiday for the US, and the score has not gone any higher. So awesome. I farmed up like 1,200 tickets worth of runs, and I did not get a higher score because I kept piercing or synergy or guarding or something that would just hamper my score back down. So I just got frustrated and gave up. I'm still top 1%, 0.1, so whatever. The skill fusions, though. Skill fusions are always kind of a hit or miss, and definitely more misses than hits, unfortunately. Because, one, all skill fusions, you have to be at level 100 to do it, which is stupid and asinine, and that's always the first thing in my surveys is please get rid of that. But this time we got units that I would say are unnecessary. So we got Space Leon, who's quite old, and all it does is it ups his values for his debuffs, which is fine, but it's like, unless you're a brand new person coming in the Valor Cup, you're not using Space Leon. Like that's just a sad, hard truth. So he's not that useful. Light Leon got a buff as well, and it gives his light buff a 30% light resistance down, which is not a very impactful thing. Like, we got done talking about how minus 80% defense is not great. Minus 30% light resistance down also does not matter that much. And if I'm going to use Light Leon, it's probably so I can hold his buff on a unit for a turn or so later, of which case that light resistance debuff won't even be there anymore. So, not useful, I think. Water Hinata and Light Hinata got one as well. So Water Hinata, her seal. Her crit chance seal and her alt damage buff went up by 10%. So now it stacks at 15% every single time to a cap of 60. So you only need to use it 4 times instead of using it like a lot. A lot of times. This was done when it came out, and again, Hinata is just a very, very old nuker. People may use her if they have no other single target water option, and it definitely helps. But again, a new player is very, very unlikely to have her at level 100. So the skill fusion does not apply to them. And then finally, the light Hinata skill fusion. Where are you? It gives all light allies that extra element resistance for 3 turns. I'm not running Hinata on an all light team. I'm not running this Hinata really at all. She's a special converted to oranges, and oranges do not get love in this game, so it's unnecessary. So all 4 of the skill fusions I would rank as just kind of an L, on top of being the level 100 requirement, which is a super huge L. None of them are particularly useful. And then we have the late Predator battle that came with not part 2, but part 3 of the collab. So it came literally 10 days ago, 11 days ago maybe. And I do not know why they held on to it for so long. Everybody needs skill enhancements, especially new players who are pulling for a collab team full of new units, right? So it makes sense to drop the Predator battle earlier. If this had come out with the start of the month, right, when Shizu no Albedo originally came out on like the 2nd or something like that, that would have given people a full month to just do this over and over and over again, and then you could actually reliably get Albedo and Shoutir and Ainz and Shizu's skills up, alongside all the other new characters you're pulling from all these goddamn free tickets, right? New players need these much more than old players do. Like, I'm good on these. I still need them, but I'm only upgrading like 4 or 5 units every single month, and then I'm doing Predator battles to refill that. New players, they're pulling units left, right, and center. They need a lot of skill enhancements, and by limiting this to, 2 weeks instead of 3 or even 4 weeks, it just hurts the new player base, and it makes them not want to play because they can't use their skills at full power. And it's not like some games where you need, like, the higher skills, the more dupes you have, the more your skill does. It's like, no, the game is meant for you to be run with every unit at skill level 10, because it's not a dupe requirement that it's locked behind. It's just grinding requirement. So there's no reason why this Predator battle should have been left to part 3. And then we got the Valentine's Day stuff. So we got the sweet surprise. Okay, I spelled sweet wrong. Now that I'm catching that. So we got the Sweet Surprises special quest that gave the chocolate medals and allowed us to grind up for those free multis. We got the Always My Valentine's scenes, which gave us 100 free crystals, which, cool, 100 free crystals, 100 free crystals more than what I had before. We got the Bond XP chocolate and the 5 multis. I think that's fine. I think it's fairly good, giving us 5 guaranteed multis of guaranteed 5 stars. So, after all is said and done, this was good. This was bad. We got the Bond food, right? So, with the new characters, we also got that new food item, the Nazarick drink, and that gives a lot of extra Bond XP to the 4 new characters, which in turn gives you a lot of Bond crystals. So that is just another way, and it's an easy way to feed them, because you can just farm endlessly that food thing. That's what Nature did to get all his characters up to like Bond level 40, and it took a fuck ton of stamina for him, but he has crystals to burn. So he was able to get all his Overlord characters very, very high up, and I was also able to get them fairly high as well, all things considered. So new food items guaranteed to give extra boosts towards new characters. Good. So now that we've talked about everything off this list, my final ranking for the Overlord collab is probably about a 5. And I think that's being a bit generous. Valentine's Day stuff, good. Predator battle, bad. Free food is good. Skill fusions were bad. Jubilee Catalyst is neutral. Blitz and joint battle rewards were good. Beatdown battles neutral. Free gear is good. The story event I think is good. The dupes were good. But the whole reason people come into the collab is to get the collab units. And what turns players off from a collab? When the units are bad. Because why? If I'm a new player, would I jump into Slime and be like, I love Overlord, let's pull for my best waifu Albedo, and then you find out that Albedo is trash. It's like, okay, well, do I want to summon for Albedo? Do I even want to continue playing the game that I have like one day in and I have no loyalty towards? Probably not. No. And older players, like, what is our reason to summon on a bad unit? Like, we older players, we know better. We know the best way to save our crystals and banners that we should summon for that gives us the most value. And Albedo, especially Shoutir being a single banner, like, congratulations, she was the MVP of Jubilee Catalyst. She's going to sit in the box for another 3 months until a Jubilee normal stage comes out. You need a Dark Magic nuker. Alright, that's not good value. Shizu, you're going to use her on any green team moving forward. That's good value. Same with Blanc. Same with Guy, any blue team. You know. Oh, look, that's the Overlord characters. Why would I summon? Alright? People want collab characters during a collab celebration, and if the collab characters aren't good, they're not going to spend money. And if they don't spend money, they're not going to summon. If they don't summon, they're not going to have fun. And if they don't have fun, they just quit. And what happens to profits for the devs if players quit, don't spend money, and don't summon? Well, it goes in the tank. It goes way, way down. So I don't know what the financial outlook for this collab looks like, but I would assume it initially looked positive and then took a straight nosedive because people very quickly realized that the Overlord characters are just not good. They're just not good, and nothing we can do about it will change it. We had the survey, so that's cool. I don't think they're going to change these skills, right? So I think they're just going to be eternally locked as crap. And that's going to be the end of it. And I've seen a lot of people be like, don't touch this anime. Don't touch this anime for a collab because I don't trust that you can do it well. And you know what? I think that's a fair reasoning. They've proven that, they've done the Konosuba collab. That was fine for the time when it came out. The Idolmaster collab, no one gave a shit about. But they made the units really good because they made the team invincible and gave us one of the best stacking supports in the game in Shizuka, who is also the MVP of this goddamn Overlord team. The idol Shizuka is better than Shoutir and Albedo combined, and then multiplied by 2, maybe. That's how much value Albedo and Shoutir have versus Shizuka. So, and then we have Overlord, big time IP name, and they shit it. They shit all over it. So it's like, do I want them to touch Sword Art? Do I want them to touch Eminence and Shadow, or Rising a Shield Hero, or any other big name, IP? I don't know. Unless they directly tell us that they learn from their mistakes and they don't make units underpowered again, then sure, we'll give them another chance. But a lot of people, they're like, no, don't do it. Stick to Slime because that's what you're good at. Because you obviously made the Slime characters, Shizu and Protector Rimuru, 3,000 times better than what the Overlord characters were. So that is my final grade, 5. The usefulness of the units definitely brought it down. And while we did have the dupes and we did have free stuff, that can only push you so high up when the main draw of a collab are the characters. And if the characters are crap, the collab is crap. So I'll give it a 5. And that is a generous 5. But let me know in the comments, do you agree with that score? Do you think it should be higher because I'm undervaluing a lot of the free stuff? Or do you think it should be much lower because all everybody cares about is the units and they're all shit? Let me know in the comments. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.